Welcome to the DB Media Podcast. That's Dylan. I'm Brian, and we have quite a few things to be talking about today.
All right. What's the movie news first?
First, we'll start with movie news. So, one thing that I have to talk about, you said you never watched the first Megan movie. The second Megan movie is going to be a interactive experience. I read this from IGN. So, like, you're supposed to be on your phone during the movie. Like, you're supposed to message the Instagram account for the movie, and there's supposed to be some kind of interactive experience for the movie.
That sounds ridiculous.
I agree. They're going to ruin a good movie.
Why are they doing
I have no idea. That's the only thing I can find about it.
They used to have something like that where you'd press buttons in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Should they do this? Press button 1 or 2. Family Guy used to make fun of it.
Yeah. Some of the theaters had I think Final Destination 3 done that because it was also on the DVD copy. You could do that at home, which was really cool. So you could make the characters beat death, which was fun. But next piece of news, and one that we really need to discuss, Spider-Man's not going to be in Doctor Doom or Doomsday. How do you feel about that?
I feel fine. There's been plenty of Avengers not in Avengers movies.
I know, but okay, I should say first, this is not confirmed by no means, but it is heavily, heavily implied Spider-Man's not going to be in Doomsday. So,
wasn't it because
his movie is supposed to be taking place
during Doomsday?
During Doomsday, which is interesting. So my prediction for the movie is
like Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes, exactly. Some of the person who I was watching talk about it compared to Ant-Man and the Wasp during Infinity War.
Yeah.
So my prediction for this movie is going to be that we deal with the whole Doctor Doom thing, Doomsday, and then we get to Brand New Day and...
So which one's coming out first?
What do you mean? Doomsday, Brand New Day, and then Secret Wars.
Okay.
So I think Brand New Day is going to end with a setup to the symbiote suit. Like it'll introduce us to the symbiote suit, because Secret Wars, I would almost bet my life that we're going to see him in the symbiote suit.
Yeah.
Because during the comic book run of Secret Wars, that's the first appearance of Spider-Man in the symbiote suit. So
yep. I'm
hoping that Brand New Day kind of tease that up.
Yeah.
Or give us a symbiote suit in Brand New Day. I'd be all right with that. And but give it to us towards the end. Like he beats somebody and the symbiote suit's in like a post-credit scene. Like I would tee it up a little bit for Secret Wars.
What if it's Tom Hardy's Venom? I'm
all right with that. 100% okay with Tom Hardy's Venom. I think he played a fantastic Venom. Now, if it was, who's the guy from Spider-Man 3?
What?
The Venom from Spider-Man 3 played him.
Oh, Topher Grace?
Yeah, Topher Grace, yes. I would love to see all of them in Secret Wars again, like different variants. I think that'd be really fun. So.
I don't know. Topher Grace, I don't think he does sequels.
No, I don't think he does.
I think it was very hard to get him to come back for that 90s show for a cameo.
Yeah. That was not very good neither. Also, we have a leaked picture of Doctor Doom. Again, not confirmed, but it looks awful real. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think if it's real, then it's got me thinking that this is a different Tony Stark variant. Like it's not a Doom. Like he's not
Victor Von Doom. He's Tony Stark.
He's Tony Stark that just had a lot of shitty things happen in his life, and he's evil now.
I agree, because in the picture, the armor
looks like an Iron Man armor.
Looks like an Iron Man suit. So I guarantee they're adapting the storyline where Iron Man became Reed Richards' college roommate and became his rival instead of Victor Von Doom. I would almost bet that's the kind of...
the only storyline I know of about them switching places is Doom switches their minds and he lives his life as Tony Stark.
not too familiar with that one. I've heard of it, but I'm not too familiar with
Yeah, I'm
that.
not either.
Either way, if they adapt either one of those, I'd be okay with it. I think it's going to be really cool. If he is a Tony Stark variant, the interaction with him and Tom Holland is going to be really good.
I don't know. I don't know about any of this because it's all very confusing. Like, what somebody said, it's not confirmed, but somebody has a theory that they're gonna just end the MCU after Secret Wars.
I've heard that rumor too. Yeah, they're just going to reboot it after Secret Wars.
Yeah, or something like that, and they're gonna have Robert Downey Jr. end it because he started it.
They might, a soft reboot could be all right, honestly.
And then everybody's talking about how his plan is just going to try to protect the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Because Robert Downey Jr. said different mask, same task.
Right.
Which was Iron Man's task, was to protect the world.
Well, that was always Doctor Doom's kind of task, too.
Yeah.
But he was very evil about it. Like, he didn't care about how many people he had to kill to achieve.
Yeah.
Just like kind of Thanos, you know what I mean? Like, so that holds a lot of, like, that holds pretty tight. Like, I think that's a pretty plausible theory. I'm
kind of hoping Marvel is just pissing on us with this, and like Iron Man's just going to come back.
Yeah, like we have Cillian Murphy or something as Doctor Doom, and like really they just lied to us the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be funny. I honestly think that
that's not something I'd really put past Marvel.
No, not at all.
I mean, they would not confirm that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield was in the new Spider-Man until, well, they never confirmed it until the movie was released.
The movie came out. That was the best theater action I've ever seen. I honestly think that Doomsday is kind of secretly going to be the first half of it's going to be an Avengers versus X-Men movie because of how many old X-Men cast is coming in.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a secret X-Men versus Avengers kind of small adaptation of that storyline.
Okay.
But next thing, I don't know, have you ever seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
No.
Okay, so they're doing a remake of that.
Before we get into that, I watched in something else that they are changing Johnny Storm's character in the new Fantastic Four movie.
What do you mean?
They're making him a completely different personality type.
Yes, from all the interviews and stuff I've like read about it, he does look like a very different personality type.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
Yeah, he's not. He's from the teasers we've had and small videos we've seen.
They said he's going to be less callous with people's emotions, and that's something everybody really likes about Johnny Storm.
Yeah, I agree. Like he's not as like just nonchalant about things. Like he's going to be more caring about things, and I don't like that either.
No,
because Johnny Storm's kind of just the dude who hangs out there and is like doesn't really care about what's going on.
Yeah.
But he cares about his family, but he don't care really about what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I don't like the way they're going to portray that if that's true. I'll have to watch Fantastic Four to honestly get my full review on that.
I don't know. I promise you, if I hear something about them being like, yeah, we didn't read the Fantastic Four comics, I'm giving up on Marvel.
Dude, I'm like this close to getting up on Marvel anyway.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts comes out in 2 weeks. Can we just how excited are you for that?
I'm pretty excited about it. But I don't sense a lot of excitement from anybody else about it.
I think it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be really good too, but...
Did you see Florence Pugh, I think is her name? The girl who plays...
Yelena,
yeah. She jumped off the second tallest building in the world for her stunt. She done it. There's the tallest building, the second tallest building in the world is in like China or Tokyo, something like that. But they got permission to set up a like crane at the top with like a whole harness system. The scene in the movie where she like just nonchalantly like leans forward and falls off of it.
That's her.
That's her. Like, she done it herself.
God, there's no green screen or nothing.
Nothing. Like, I watched the behind the scenes video on it the other day. It was so cool because she was so excited about doing it. Because she kept trying to convince Kevin Feige to let her do her own stunts, and he wouldn't do it. But he let her do this one, which is wild.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me enough money in the world, I don't think, to do that.
Next, Tommy Cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm really excited about it. It's just I don't like right now. It's projected that it's not even going to make its budget back.
I think it will. I think if Captain America can, it will.
I think it's projected it's going to make $10 million less than its budget, which kind of gives me hope about Fantastic Four because they've got this movie coming out and they're not worried about this movie.
Right, they're more focused on their other movie coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm telling you, this movie makes money back because as much as you're not seeing people excited, like I think there are people who are secretly just waiting for this to come out because I don't think you understand how big of a threat the Void's going to be.
Yeah.
He's like one of the biggest villains in the comics. Like, he is going to be a problem. So, I can't wait to see how they handle his on-screen appearance, his first adaptation. I really can't wait to see that.
Yeah. They ever reveal what the asterisk was for?
What asterisk?
There's an asterisk in the name of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I don't know what that's for. How I think the Thunderbolts is going to go is, you know how Valentine is kind of controlling them? I feel like by the end of the movie, Thunderbolt Ross is going to control him. He's going to be out of the prison control. Because in the comics, the reason they're called the Thunderbolts
is because they're Thunderbolt Rosses.
Yeah, they're his team. So I think at some point, maybe not in this movie, but at some point he is going to be in control of this team. So,
yeah.
But anything else you want to say about that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so the Killer Clowns from Outer Space remake, Ryan Gosling is producing it. I don't know how I feel about that.
He's producing it. He's
not directing. It's just he's producing it.
It just means he's giving money for it.
Yeah, I mean, still though, the fact that he backed it was weird.
Maybe he's a Killer Clowns fan.
Yeah, true. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a classic. Now, it's a ridiculous, funny movie that is just like one of these movies that was so dumb back in the, I think it was 80s or 90s when it came out, that it found its feet on streaming years later, decades later, and has now become a cult classic. There's a video game out now. There's tons of merch. I have a Killer Clowns from Outer Space cup sitting back there.
I used to have it on VHS.
I love this movie.
I never really watched it though.
It's really funny. Like it's funny, but like there's like two scenes in this movie that is genuinely creepy. Like, but other than that, I can't wait to see this remake. I really would. I don't know how they're going to handle it. If they're going to lean heavy into the comedic aspect or heavy into the horror aspect, or keep a balance between the two. But I'd be alright with either one because it kind of does a good job of balancing it in the first one. So
yeah.
You done with that?
Anything else?
One more. Tell me what you think about those Lobo leaked photos.
Oh yeah. So they definitely cast the right guy.
Now, if these are real photos,
I believe they are.
I believe they are too. Jason Momoa looks just like Lobo, dude. Like if they're real, the only problem that I have with them is his bike.
His bike looks real.
His bike looks like a real bike instead. It looks real in the comics, but it looks more kind of like decked out, like with skulls and stuff like that. It just kind of looked like an old rusted bike. But then again, it was a bad quality photo.
Bad quality photo.
It could be when he's first introduced.
And also, they could just CGI they's probably just using that bike for CGI frame.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, because when we get the final product, that's probably just what they were CGIing on it.
Yeah.
Because Jason Momoa is a common bike rider anyway.
Yeah.
So like he's probably just riding a bike around set and they're just going to CGI it on. But other than that, he nails the look, dude. I mean, it looks just like the fan cast photos. Like, they could not have casted a better Lobo, I think.
Wonder if they're gonna give him like the all red eyes or not.
I don't know, because I don't know. There's a million different Lobo storylines they could adapt. Some of them get very convoluted and twisted and just stupid, but some of them are really good. Like Lobo's so metal, dude. He has a radio in his brain constantly playing rock music. Like, he's going to be DC's answer to Deadpool. He's going to be that, like, because there's parts where like, in the comics he addresses the reader directly. Like, he breaks the fourth wall. Where he's like, well, he doesn't really talk to him as much as he does, like, being like, hey, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see how he handles this, and I pray we get a Lobo movie in the future. But gives me a little more hope for James Gunn's DC universe.
Yeah. I don't know. James Gunn is a very avid comic book reader.
And that's what I like about him. That's one of my positives I have about him, which my only big negative about him, again, is the fact that I don't think he can do solo superhero movies.
I don't think he needs to.
I think he does. You have to be able to do both.
No, because I think he's realized that, and he's just not going to do it, and I'm fine with that.
I'm not. I think you have to be able to do both if you're going to adapt this kind of universe.
No. I mean, I guess, but he's showing us an already opened universe. Which, if he was trying to give everybody origin stories and stuff, I'd understand that. Like, he probably should be able to do solo movies. But he's not. Which, like, Batman Brave and the Bold, we're not getting a story for that. He's probably going to have a Robin already in place. Kind of hoping that we get an origin story of one of the Robins.
I think that I heard somewhere that that the Robin we're supposed to get for Brave and the Bold was supposed to be Damian Wayne.
Okay. So then we might get Nightwing and Red Robin and Red Hood.
We're supposed to. Because Red Hood and Nightwing is supposed to be established already in this universe because they have their dynamic duo show coming out.
Oh, so they have a show coming out.
Yeah, an animated show. But it will be...
Yeah, like...
Yeah. Creature Commandos.
Yeah, Creature Commandos.
Yeah, they're already going to be established. I don't like that. I'm okay with Nightwing being established. I'm all right with that. I'm not okay with them breezing over the Red Hood story. We've never seen a live-action Red Hood story. We've got a video game and some animated movies. That is one of the biggest impacts in the Bat family or Batman's life is the Red Hood storyline where he discovers that Jason Todd is not dead, that he was tortured his whole life, his whole stint there with the Joker, and it's heavily implied that the Joker even sexually assaulted him in the video game and some of the shows and stuff. It's very implied in that, not in the comic itself, but there's been iterations where just the Joker has put this guy through hell, and we're not going to be able to see that. We're just going to be like, oh, but he's a character that happened to him. You have to know the comics. You have to know your history to know that. Don't get me wrong, they could go back and do a flashback, or they could do.
I'd say that's what they'll do.
I don't like that. Tell me in order. Tell me in order.
I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of flashbacks in the Superman movie too.
And you're the biggest advocate for no flashback storytelling.
As long as I can tell a difference in the storytelling, it's fine. As long as there's an age gap, you know what I'm talking about?
Where you can clearly see which flashback is which.
Yeah. If, you can't just show me a scene of Clark and then show me another scene that was supposedly 2 weeks ago and expect me to realize that
the difference?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he has potential to do justice, but I don't think he knows how to do it right.
Yeah, that's what they did with the Man of Steel.
Right.
They kept going back and forth, but I could always tell.
I'm alright with backward storytelling.
Yeah,
I always am. You're the one who has a problem with it.
Yeah, but No, I don't. If it's like, as long as it's not just like Jason Todd, like 2 weeks before he comes to Red Hood, and then like, you know what I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're trying to say.
But if it's just like flashbacks to him getting tortured as a kid, where I know, oh, that's the past.
Yeah, well, I get it, but I feel like that whole time period where we have the comic around the death in the family, you know, where he gets blown up and all that, and Batman thinks he's dead. I think all of that deserves its own movie. There's so much lore there that, like you said, he's an avid comic book reader. So I feel like or being an avid comic book reader, he in his mind he thinks these people should know what the past. These people should know their origin story. He's not taking into account the people who are fans of this universe that don't really read a lot of comic books. You know what I mean? Like, he should take into account that maybe these people haven't read these comics and they want to see it on the big screen. Like, they know something about it. You know what I mean?
I will be honest. I did not start reading any time. I still don't read that many comics myself, but I didn't read any type of comics until the movies came out.
Okay.
So why? But I enjoyed them nonetheless. You know, I never really felt left out. And if there was anything I wanted to know, I could just go back and read the comic. It was never really a big deal to me.
That's fair.
I mean, if you are really wanting to get into this universe and there's something you want to know, you can go look up a comic. I mean, otherwise, just watch the movie.
Fair enough. Fair.
Because it's not like there's one linear story altogether.
Right.
Like, there's multiple different issues of comics. Not just Marvel or DC. There's just like multiple
Different storylines.
different storylines. Some of them don't happen in the main universe. Some of them do.
Right. No, I get what you're saying, 100%. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You make a good point on that. But
So why really waste time on that? On, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
On trying to get somebody caught up when they can catch themselves
because
up.
when they should do it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, you got a point there.
Like,
Because he's really just doing a service for the fans, the comic fans.
Yeah.
Like, he's not really doing a service for people who are just trying to tiptoe into the universe of the first time.
no. But if you like Batman, you pretty much already know
Yeah.
everything about this.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I haven't read very many comic books about it, but I know that Joker tortured this bastard to death.
Yep.
And then he was revived with the Lazarus Pit or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he became Red Hood.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
So, what's the show they're getting called?
Dynamic Duo, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, when's it supposed to come out?
2026 or 7, something like that.
I don't know. When's that Green Lantern show supposed to come out?
Ooh, I think early next year or late this year. Again, don't quote me on that. And that is a date that I completely try to pull out my memory. So, we'll confirm that.
Mm.
But all 3 Green Lanterns are supposed to be in it now. Guy Gardner is confirmed to be in it now. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I do kind of wish that Nathan Fillion was cast as Hal Jordan.
I think the guy is Hal Jordan's perfect.
No, it's just Nathan Fillion's always voiced Hal Jordan.
I don't know how I feel about us having 3 Green Lanterns at the same time. Like, normally, like, we've had them before, but normally, like, you focus on one iteration of the Green Lantern. I don't know how I feel about all 3 of them being Green Lantern at the same time.
I don't know.
It can work. I'm definitely not totally against it. But anyway,
It'll be better than Ryan Reynolds.
that is a fact. That is a fact. But, you done with this?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to the Gemstones, the Righteous Gemstones. What do you think about the new episode, bro?
It was just a flashback episode.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was all right.
The kid actors were fantastic. I think they do a really, really good job of portraying their adult counterparts.
Especially Danny.
Danny McBride's,
Yeah.
no, Judy's younger self too. She does a perfect job.
I feel like Danny McBride's is the best.
I think he's the best, but Judy's is really good. But yeah, it's definitely just a flashback episode, and it's kind of setting up that she's had a crazy ex before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of setting up that maybe he's still in the picture, and that might have been the cliffhanger for next episode.
Maybe. Or is it maybe... Because didn't it show that they still had the gold Bible in an earlier episode?
I think so. So they do get it back.
Yeah, they do get it back. So I'm wondering how they do that.
We'll see next week.
Still, no Baby Billy this episode. That made me mad.
I know. Every time he's not in an episode, I hate the episode. Like, it's to the point where I really don't want to watch the episode when he's not in it. But we don't have a lot to say about that. I don't, if you don't.
No,
It was good. It set up. I think it set up some things.
I thought it was funny how they was gonna name their kid Stallone first.
Yeah, I like that. And the dad telling the story of Gideon.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And they keep making fun of it all through the episodes. Like, name your baby, whatever. Like, he's like, the baby Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever you're gonna call him. Like, whatever she said.
Yeah. And he went to take a drink of the liquor, and he said, "I think the burglar pissed in my scotch."
And then he's already taking a drink. He's like, "Good to know, Daddy." But I think it was good, and they are getting better. I think each episode.
I don't know. This is probably my least favorite episode.
I don't know. I think the second episode is my least favorite.
No. Second episode had Baby Billy in it, so.
That's true. It's true. So you'll move on to G20?
Yeah, we can move on to that.
All right. What the new Amazon streaming movie G20? Go ahead and rate it before I dive into this.
Give it 3.5.
3.5?
It was basic rating.
I give it a 1.5.
Maybe a 3.
I give it a 1.5. So this movie revolves around Viola Davis is the president, and she attends this this party.
G20 summit.
G20 summit, and it gets overtaken by a bunch of terrorists who are trying to crash the world economy, and it is run by Anthony Starr's character. That's pretty much the gist of the movie.
Yeah.
So why in the world did you give this a 3?
That was just a basic movie. I didn't hate it or love it.
I hated this movie.
Why?
There was not a lot of action in this movie.
No, it's like a crappy version of Die Hard.
Don't compare it to Die Hard.
It's the exact same plot, though.
Don't compare it to Die Hard.
Like, she's got to make her way through this building.
She only goes through like 2 rooms, and she keeps going back and forth, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so did he. He just ducked this there.
But when John McClane said something, I thought he was a genuine, bad dude.
That's what I'm saying. This is a shittier version of that movie.
When she tries to...
It's the same plot. She's just in a building hiding from the terrorists, trying to take them out one by one, and she has to save her family.
Every line she said in this movie, I cringed so hard. And it dropped significantly for me because I don't think it showed Anthony Starr enough. He got the last 20 minutes, yes. But he would have little parts here and there. I feel like if you're going to have a major player like Anthony Starr, and I know Viola Davis is supposed to be a major player too, Anthony Starr is in his villain time right now, his villain era. Showcase this man being a villain. He's good at it. Why you give me a couple scenes here and there?
Yeah.
It was definitely a typecast.
This movie didn't do anything special, but it didn't do anything to make me hate it either.
I don't know. It made me hate it because it didn't show Anthony Starr enough. It gave me a protagonist that I did not believe was really a war hero, or not even war hero, but like a bad,
Mama Jamma.
yeah. And it had nothing to do with her being like a female cast. It's like, because you can cast a tough female protagonist. It's been done plenty of times. I just don't feel like Viola Davis is that. She cannot be a John McClane. She just can't.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I did enjoy about this movie is the dynamic between the dad and the kids. I thought that was really cool, because they did give the kids enough character that I really did like the kids. Those are the only likable characters in this movie for me.
I don't know. I got real George Bush vibes from their kids. That's what his daughters used to do all the time.
Sneak out?
Yeah, sneak out and go to bars.
Fair. I will say the helicopter crash scene at the end was pretty cool. They're fighting in the helicopter and it kind of falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it really didn't do anything new. Like, the story did not progress enough. Like, for me, like, I watched for like 50 minutes, I think it was 45, 50 minutes. And literally I saw the same thing happening over and over again.
Yeah, she's just...
With no story progression.
I mean, I don't see how you're supposed to progress the story, though, other than her just clearing rooms.
Yeah, but it's not that she would clear a room, then she'd backtrack to the room she was just in, and then go back and forth between talking to these people and trying to come up with a plan. I didn't like that.
Well, it'd be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, but still. It just made me feel like... I didn't like this movie.
No. I mean, I'll probably never watch it again, but
No,
I didn't.
I would never.
I definitely didn't hate this movie.
No, I wouldn't say I hated it, but I really did. I strongly disliked it. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it.
No, I'm good on it.
The new episode of The Studio, the Zac Efron episode, what do you think?
I will say that each episode of this show is getting better and better. I did not like the first episode. Second episode, I thought it was kind of cool what they did with the one shot. Third episode, I liked it. It was interesting, them trying to figure out how to give Ron Howard a note. This one I like the fourth episode better than the rest of them. It is a little more interesting, them trying to figure out who stole the film reel.
I like how each episode is like tackling a different movie trope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really like interesting and really unique. Like, the first one was just like your basic Joe, but the second one was the one take. The third one was him trying to get a note, but it was about like movies being too long and trying to cut certain movies and directors not knowing when to cut their movies. And the fourth one was like a old noir like mystery type deal, which I love that. And I love how they're incorporating different famous actors in each episode. Bryan Cranston, Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, that's something else. You really couldn't do this show without doing that.
Right.
Like, you can't just make a show about making movies without including famous directors and actors.
Right. I agree.
So,
one thing that I thought was hilarious about this was the scene where he's returning back to his trailer and he says, I forgot my feet were in this scene. I need to grab these certain socks.
Yeah.
And he says, your feet's in the scene. Who's directing this movie? Tarantino? I thought that was so funny because that's so true. Tarantino has to include feet in the...
I will say this episode really pissed me off.
Why?
Because the director, at the end of the movie, she threw the reel and destroyed it. I said, I was like, shelved,
Yeah.
shelve that movie.
Show that movie, just uses a tax write-off.
Yeah, shelve the movie.
And then he done a voiceover and was like, cause she got to do her
her reshoots.
Yeah, because that's how Hollywood works. It's like, God, really?
Yeah, no, shelved.
Yeah,
Shelved.
I would. Yeah, just out of spite.
Blacklist her as an actor and director.
Yeah,
Shelved.
Never work with her again. I would never work with her again.
Mm-mm.
But I think it's a fantastic episode, and I'm pretty stoked to watch the new one that came out today.
I've already watched it. So.
Yeah. We can't talk about it. I ain't watched it.
So Seth wrote.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, this one was your pick, Cinderella Man. Rate this movie.
Been a minute since I've seen it. I didn't get to watch it, but I've seen it before. Let me give it a 4.
Get a 4.5. I really enjoyed this movie. You want to say anything about it?
Probably my favorite boxing movie.
Now, whenever you recommended it, you said better than Rocky. And I thought you were a liar. Thought you were crazy. Nothing's better than Rocky. This is better than Rocky. This is a better story. Such a compelling story. Way more compelling.
And it's based on a true story.
Based on a true story. Made me care about these characters enough to cry for them just about. Like, made... And I don't know if it's being a dad or what, but Russell Crowe trying to care for his children in the Great Depression. Holy crap. That is so sad. And
Renee Zellweger.
that's
worried
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worried about him dying in the ring.
Yeah. Dude, this is one of the best. It had 3 Oscar nominations. I found that out, which is pretty cool. Well deserving of all of it. If you haven't seen this movie, which I don't know how you haven't, 'cause it's old, but like definitely watch it.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen it. Yeah, this is my first watch. I thought it was fan-freaking-tastic, and the boxing matches, the fights, really well choreographed. Like for it to be as old as it is, like even Rocky, like sometimes. Even like during his first fight with Apollo Creed was choppy at times, and you know that you couldn't tell what was going on. But
This movie was making like what 2000, late 90s, early 2000s,
something like that. But like the fight scenes were so well choreographed, and you could see everything. Like I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
What's his friend's name? His promoter.
His real life name is Paul Giamatti.
No, the promoter guy, like his friend who helped him promote his fights, the actor's name.
Paul Giamatti. Giamatti.
Oh. Like you're talking about the real life guy in real life. Because you said it was based on a true story. He's fantastic. I love him in everything he's in.
Yeah.
And
It's been a minute since I've seen him in anything new.
he was in one last year.
What was he in?
The Passover, I think it was called.
I don't know that.
I think it was called. It was like a movie about. It was like one of those feel-good movies. So, the ending fight was the best fight, and it went on for just the right amount of time. And like I said, it was just a great watch. So
That's something I like about the most movies that's based on true stories is when the movie's over. It tells you what went on with their life,
or show pictures and stuff. So, very, very seldomly, whenever you watch a movie, you want to rewatch it for the first time. Like, I would give money if my brain could be erased and I could watch Goodfellas for the first time. Or Lethal Weapon. You know, some of the greats. This is one of those movies. A first-time watch is just phenomenal. Like, this is one of those movies that'll just go down for me as one of the best ones. But anything else you want to say about it?
Not just how sad it was him having to find his friend and then go look for him in the homeless place.
Yes. This was a real tearjerker.
Yeah.
Like, it showed you the hardships of the Great Depression.
Him trying to hide his broken hand.
Yep.
So
he could work. Yeah. Like I said,
And the fact he started getting money back and went and paid back his
government help.
Yeah.
Like he was helped he went down and got the relief funds.
Yeah.
And when he started making a little bit of money, he went back and paid it back. He said, I appreciated the help.
Yeah.
Wild. Like, I wouldn't have done that.
No. It was my money. I need it now.
That is wild. And just overall, again, tearjerker. Really, how you know you got a good movie is when it evokes real emotion. This is one of those movies.
All right. Yeah. I'm good on this if you're.
Yep, I'm good. Oh, the reason we started watching that is because I didn't know who Ron Howard was when we watched the 3rd episode of The Studio.
Yeah.
And you recommended one of that movie. All right, moving on to my pick, The Prestige. Rate The Prestige.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Go to 4. What do you think?
The only reason I gave it a 3 because it is the exact type of movie I hate. I cannot tell when it transitions from what time it is.
Or from the time period it's
Yeah.
in. Because I will admit, the end of the movie is the start of the movie.
Yeah,
And it also tells a flashback of how they started off being magicians, but it also transitioned a little bit forward, not quite to where he dies, but kind of in the middle to where he is at the hotel talking to Nikola Tesla.
yeah.
So it's telling 3 different time periods, and it's not telling them in order. Like, you're jumping between 3 different time periods at all times during this movie.
Yeah. I knew as soon as the movie started, he went in that bucket and drowned. I was like, okay, he's still alive somehow. I knew immediately. I was like, okay, he's alive. And then the movie started going on, and they just kept on like, haha, you've read my journal.
Right.
And he did it again. I was like, okay, so he's got a double, and the double's going to pay for his crime or something like that.
Right. What did you call that he had a brother?
Not a brother, a double. Some sort of double.
So it's all right to say that you didn't guess this ending.
I was half and half on that. I didn't guess that he had a brother, but I was right about the double.
Right. Exactly. I think so. This is a Christopher Nolan movie, and
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan's one of the greatest directors of today's time.
And I like how it just doesn't explain how it's duplicating people.
Right? Like it's
It's just like a room full of dead Hugh Jackman.
That is one thing when I did watch this on a first watch years ago, I didn't expect him to be cloned. That was kind of just a out of left field kind of thing. Like, that's really strange. But when I watched this back on a second watch through, and I know that one of the Christian Bales is a brother, it makes a second watch through really interesting. Like, I really, like, whenever he says, "Oh, I don't know which knot I tied," he's like, "Which knot did you tie?" He says, "I honestly don't know." Because he really don't know.
Yeah.
Because he didn't tie the knot. His brother did.
Yeah.
And so, the first time you're watching it, you're like, how do you not know which knot you tied? But the second time you watch, you're like, oh, I know why he doesn't know which knot he tied. Fantastic movie. It makes you want to watch it a second time, though.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman's performance in this, with him being obsessed with Christian Bale,
Yeah.
and Christian Bale never fails.
I feel like I would have been just as interested in this movie had they just told it right.
Yeah, if they would have told it in like one linear story, like chronologically, yes, I feel like it would have done a lot better. I would have probably given this a 5 out of 5.
Like, if they had just like skipped the part about it duplicating, and then like after it was found out that he is still alive and went back and told that part, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with
But
that.
this movie was constantly like
Transitioning from the trial at the end
to them just starting out, to middle of their careers, to the end of the movie,
to him being
to back at the beginning of their careers,
to him being in the wherever he went,
prison.
No, to him being over there talking to Nikola Tesla
In America.
Yeah, in America, them going to America, like it was everywhere. I agree with that, but like I said, once you piece it together, I think it is a great story. And Christian Bale's performance is awesome. Hugh Jackman's performance is awesome. That one guy who plays Alfred,
Michael Caine.
he was awesome. Like
Michael Caine's good in everything.
he is good in everything. I'll say this every time this comes across this in one of our movies, to play 2 different variants of a character, like Christian Bale's playing 2 different brothers, takes skill.
Well, it's not really he's playing 2 different brothers. He's playing the same character that's living the same life. So
I like how he cut the fingers off his brother to die with the lie. Like, I'll tell you what, whenever they first done the teleporting man or whatever, the transported man, that's when I called that he had a double. But I don't know. I think I called he had a brother. I think I figured out the ending by the end of the movie. But yeah, I was pretty sure he had like a brother or something. Like, I can't believe I know it's Hugh Jackman playing him, but like they found someone who looked just like Hugh Jackman. Like,
Yeah.
that was funny.
And that's why he cared about his assistant guy so much when Hugh Jackman buried him.
Yes, because it was his brother.
Yeah.
Again, on a second watch through, you're like, oh, that's why he's so, like, where's Fallon? Like, what'd you do with Fallon? He's like, is Fallon still alive? And he's like, if you dig fast enough, absolutely great performance from both of these all three of these fantastic actors.
Yeah.
But
And I'm good with this, though.
yeah, I'm good with it too.
What else do we have?
Last of Us.
Last of Us. All right.
What'd you think of, for one, rate the first season because you just watched the first season.
I will give it. I won't go all the way to a 4, but I don't think it deserves a 3.5. I give it a 3.8.
Fair. I'm gonna give it a 4.5, but I'm a huge fan.
Yep.
Tell me what you think about the first season before we get into the new episode.
Okay. First season without, like, I've played like the very beginning of the game, and by the very beginning of the game, I didn't even make it to Ellie.
Okay.
Like, I didn't even make it to Bob or whoever him and Tess was trying to find.
Bill.
Yeah. Not Bill. It's the
Robert.
Yeah.
Robert. Yeah. Did you make it to the point where his daughter dies in the video game?
Yeah. No, him and Tess. Like, I got to play where Tess was following me around, and then it just kept on repeating to where I was putting ladders up, trying to climb stuff, and I was like, I'm done with this.
Fair. It
just kept on. It was a lot of cutscenes, and that was aggravating me.
I like the cutscenes. It's a very story-driven game.
I'm gonna wait until this season is done, season 2, but I'm gonna go back and try and replay them because the show's got me very interested in getting through the story of the games.
That's what I was going to say. So you're telling it from a standpoint of someone who hasn't played the games. I'm telling someone who has played the games. So the first episode was pulled right out of the games, like with his daughter dying and everything, like that. That whole.
I will say that was the first episode was probably the only episode I could judge from the game.
It is pretty accurate, right?
Yes, but they added a lot.
They did. They added some backstory because they have to though.
It's a show.
Yeah,
which I got. I didn't like. It didn't make me mad or anything.
Right,
but it was understandable.
They also expanded on it a little bit. So you know how at the beginning of the show she says we don't have pancakes or bread or anything like that. Because if they would have had pancakes,
they would have been zombies.
They'd have been zombies. That was pretty cool, and everything's accurate from the game. Like even Bill and Frank, that's accurate from the game. Bill is Joel's friend from the game, and he has a husband, Frank. But the thing is, you don't know about Frank unless you do exploring. Like he is subtly mentioned in a cutscene, but that's it. Like, you don't know that Frank's, like, his husband, boyfriend, whatever he is, until you do some investigation and you find Frank hanging in a garage. You find his suicide letter. He had killed himself because instead of having cancer and all that, he just couldn't deal with Bill in the game. His last words was, like, you're an asshole or something like that, and then he hung himself. And you find his body in the game. But that's the only big difference.
Okay, so...
That's the only difference that I can think. Other than it's been a minute since I played the first one. I don't believe Kathleen is in the first one in the game. She might be. It's, again, years since I played it. The voice actor for Joel is like the cult leader's right hand man, and the voice actor for Tommy is Kathleen's right hand man, which is pretty cool. One of the best parts of the game is when the things come out of the street right there. They don't come out of the street in the game. They just come out of buildings and stuff. But that whole part where you're trying to dodge sniper fire, that's one of the best parts of the game, I think. Because you're running up this road and you got to dodge in between cars. And you got to work your way behind the house and get up and kill this guy. That was pulled straight out of the video game. So,
I want to say that Kathleen was probably my favorite villain of the.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't like the cannibal cult leader?
I'm not gonna say I didn't like him. Like it doesn't mean I didn't like any of the other villains. Just she's my favorite, mainly because she was just so honest about her vengeance.
That's fair. That's fair. She wasn't trying to deceive nobody. She's like, no, I just don't like this guy because of this.
Yeah, she's like, I know that my brother, who he got killed, would probably want me to forgive him, but I don't want to do that. No. She was honest about it, doing what she wanted to do for herself.
And I can respect that.
Yeah.
Also, another small difference, not big enough to make you really think anything. You know when Joel gets stabbed? In the game, he doesn't just get stabbed like that. They're fighting in the school like that with a bunch of fireflies or raiders, whatever they are. Well, raiders. They're fighting with raiders. And he falls from 2 or 3 stories and falls on a piece of rebar. That's how he gets in the game.
Okay.
So that was one thing I didn't like about the show.
I feel like that would have been less dramatic than what the show had.
What do you mean?
Because the baseball bat's like that thick.
Yeah, that's true.
Rebar's like this.
Still.
I mean, I'm not saying it
3 stories though. Like
yeah. I'd rather get stabbed by a piece of sharpened rebar. If it was sharpened rebar.
What do you think about? I like Pedro Pascal as Joel.
From the images of pictures I've seen about the games, as far as pictures go, Pedro Pascal I feel like is the most accurate. The girl they got playing Abby just doesn't look like anything
You
from
mean
the
Ellie?
code. Yeah, Ellie.
Abby should have been playing Ellie. The girl playing Abby should have been playing Ellie. One person that I saw was fan cast was other than Pedro Pascal, and he looks more like Joel. Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones. But he has like a full beard now, like longish hair. Like he looks like Joel from the game.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the ending of the first season? Like him, he would rather have Ellie than have a cure.
Yeah, I will say it kind of just jumped up on me that Joel just suddenly cares about Ellie.
Well, you got to think they were on the road for
Yeah, I know, but
8 months together.
yeah, I binged the first season, so to me it was like 2 hours.
Right. Looking at it that way, it is kind of sudden.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, they've been on the road for nearly a year trying to get there. They've bonded.
Yeah, but the way the tones just shifted.
Yeah.
Because in like the one episode, you're not my daughter, and the next episode, you're okay, baby girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I like about the game. The game where it's a longer setting, you get to experience that more.
Which I don't know how I feel about video game adaptations, because I feel like video games are to a point to where they are their own type of storytelling.
That is fair.
I don't want a Red Dead series.
I'd love a Red Dead series.
No, I don't.
Okay, not a series. I'd love a Red Dead movie.
I don't want that.
Really?
I don't. Because video games are their own type of storytelling. And if you're like...
I'd love a Grand Theft Auto movie.
No.
Really?
No. Because you will never be completely satisfied.
That is true.
With a video game adaptation. I will say
that
the only plus I see into series and movie adaptations is it gets people interested in playing the games.
Fair.
Because that's one of the only reasons I played the Witcher games.
That's fair.
But stuff like the Mortal Kombat movie, the newest one, really pisses me off.
I love the Mortal Kombat movie.
And then, but after, I played The Witcher, I watched the Witcher series, then I played the games, and then I loved the series, played the games, I hated the series.
Fair. But you got to really take a series for what it is. It's limited on the content they can put in it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why video games are their own type of storytelling medium.
But some people want to see a live adaptation. Like for example, my dad has never played a video game other than Mortal Kombat in his life. And Fallout has been one of his favorite things to come out last year. He would never experience the Fallout story or the Fallout world without that adaptation.
Well,
same thing with Last of Us. He's just starting Last of Us, I think. I recommended it to him anyway.
I don't know. As far as somebody,
Ryan, if you're watching this, watch Last of Us. So
no.
He's a very faithful viewer. Sorry.
Yeah. But I don't know how. Like, it's very weird about video game adaptations because I don't think they could ever cover enough stuff about Red Dead for me to be happy with the series.
Okay. So my thinking on that is, I think you're right. If you're a diehard fan of any kind of video game series or franchise, you're not going to be satisfied with the movies or shows. But I feel like they are necessary for people to experience the media who doesn't play video games. If you are someone who doesn't pick up a game and you want to experience the story, I feel like those adaptations are necessary. And just to give you a little taste of like the main points of the story.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
It's fair, but if you're gonna do this, you need to do it right.
I agree.
Which I'm not saying that I haven't played the game. But I'm not saying Last of Us isn't doing that. So far, they seem like they're doing it right.
No, they are. They're covering the main points, though. But there's plenty in the Last of Us game, like, to your credit, that you're missing. Because there's a lot of times where you're just walking down the street to your next objective, where Joel and Ellie have a little banter back and forth, and it's kind of growing their character. Or they talk about their past lives, and you get to experience more of their backstory. I would like to say, too, real quick, side topic. Well, not really side topic. Still on Last of Us. The episode where it showed her mom. As far as I know, we've never heard anything about Ellie's mom other than Marlene knew her.
Yep.
So that was cool. They added that, and the part where her friend gets her into the mall and gets bit and everything. That was a DLC you had to play. So that was pretty cool. I can't remember the DLC. I think it's called like Left Behind or something. But it's a DLC where they do that. So I'm glad they added the DLC to it, the storytelling, because it was necessary in my opinion. But what did you think about the first episode of the second season?
Nothing special about it. It's just showing their current lives and situations.
You know, Joe ain't gonna make it to season 2 or to episode 2.
I know he dies in the second game.
He dies before the title card of the second game. So if he makes it past episode 2, episode 3 better be his last stop if they want to keep the game. Now, I think I touched on this briefly before, but if they want to rewrite the story of The Last of Us, I personally wouldn't be mad. Because as much as I love the game, they fumble the story with Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, I know that Joel dies in the game, and I was watching an interview with one of the story writers on the game, and he said that both of those games he's tried to
wrap up.
Yeah, they've both just been tried to wrap up. So as of right now, he doesn't see a third.
And that is what I'm talking about when I said they fumbled the story. Part 2 left it open perfectly for a ending, for a trilogy. That was perfect. If you end it with Part 2, that was the worst ending I think I've seen ever. Great storytelling, but they didn't wrap it up, like, at all. So I would not be surprised if they maybe try to correct it with this, and I wouldn't hate it if they done a different story slightly. They still got Killjoy off, though. But wrap it up better.
Okay.
One thing I did like about this is season 1 had mainly storytelling elements. Season 2 so far has very heavy game mechanics. Like, okay, so in season 1, Joel talks about his hearing, how he can't hear nothing. That's one of your biggest mechanics in the game. You have to crouch and hear things. Like when you use your hearing, you can hear. It shows silhouettes to the wall. You can see people moving around. So the fact that he couldn't hear in the first one pissed me off. And then season 2, you have Ellie and I can't remember that girl's name. I know that girl. She kissed. They're both listening for the clickers. So I liked that. I like how they picked up a bottle to throw against the wall to get us to distract them. Again, that's straight out of the video game. Whenever you want to distract an enemy, you throw a bottle. Yeah. So I really like that it's leaning into game mechanics more. Next episode 2, if you played the game, that town's about to be hit by a horde. Not hit by a horde, but there's supposed to be one outside on the outskirts, and they have to deal with it. And it's a big horde. So, but I think that's one thing they're going to do differently.
I am interested because in the first episode of season 2, I want to see how these things are learning.
That's new.
That's not in the games?
That's not in the games that I remember. Granted, I played the second one once. And that was when it first came out back in 2019, 2020, something like that. I don't believe that's in the game that they're learning. So I'm pretty interested in that too. That's already a different thing. One thing I think they're going to do differently in this season is, like I said, in the video game, the horde is on the outskirts of town, and Joel and Tommy are going and fighting it off, and they kind of get stopped out there, and that's how Abby gets the upper hand on them. I feel like the difference is going to be that this horde is going to attack the town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how Abby's going to get the upper hand on them. They're going to try to evacuate the town for a minute. She's going to get a hold of Joel, and that's how it's going to go down.
Okay.
That's my prediction. But Last of Us, I'm so pumped that this is back, and I cannot wait for the next episode. I know it's going to be sad seeing Joel go because, man, it was sad in the game. They make Ellie watch in the game as they kill him. They beat him to death.
I thought they shot him.
No, they blew out his kneecap. When he falls down, they take a golf club to him and beat him to death. And she's pinned to the floor watching the entire time. So I don't know if they're going to do that brutal. They might not. So we'll see how that goes. Because they also did pay for Pedro Pascal, and you can't just lightly pay Pedro Pascal to be in a couple episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm done with it if you are.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that Daredevil. Before we start, rate this whole season.
The whole season?
The whole season.
I'm going to give it a 3.5. But that is only because of a couple episodes.
I agree. 3.5. That's a good rating. I mean,
I would rate individual episodes way higher.
Absolutely. The reason is because I think this has honestly only 3 good episodes out of it. The rest I couldn't care less for. I like the first episode, that whole drawn out scene of him and Bullseye fighting. I like the
6th episode.
Was that the one with Muse where he fights Muse and those?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, I like that one. I like his fight with Muse. And then the last one. Let's talk about this last episode. What'd you think?
I'm very confused.
Spoilers, heavy spoilers for Daredevil finale.
I'm very confused on this because they finally brought Frank in.
Right.
Which I was so happy about. We got that good team up scene.
And it went for the majority of the episode.
Yeah. We got a great team up scene. We didn't just and we got a Punisher fight scene by himself.
Right.
Which was also really good. The only thing did not wrap anything up.
Exactly. I was going to say the exact same thing. This is the most unsatisfying finale I think I've ever seen. It left me wanting more, which I get is the point. But at least some finales will wrap some things up, wrap something up. Give us a conclusion to this entire season we've watched. Doesn't have to be a big one. They don't have to take down Fisk, but give us something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, bring in one of the defenders and they catch Vanessa or something, not Fisk. Like, give us something to wrap up. Bring back Foggy. Like, let Foggy walk in at the end of the episode. I'd have been okay with that.
Well, they didn't. That wouldn't have been a wrap up. That would have just left you with more questions.
No, I think that would have been a decent wrap up than what we got.
Like if he just walked in and the show ended, like that would have made me mad.
I would have liked it better than what we got.
I don't know. I like the idea that they're just gonna like have a big brawl.
What'd you think about that Punisher and Daredevil fight in the apartment?
Oh yeah,
that went hard. Because, like, you see Daredevil just falling out of the skylight and he's just going to work. And then this guy gets his head like a big slug blown through from the Punisher shotgun.
Yeah.
They were not holding back. He is
the whole time Daredevil's trying to tell Frank to stop.
He's like, Frank, stop it. And he, like, pins this guy's head down and just blows his head off.
Neither one of them was stopping.
Yeah. Whenever they find the guy who killed White Tiger, Punisher picks up his bullet and says, "Found your man."
Yeah,
and he's like, "I don't want it." He says, "It's not worth it. It's not worth killing him."
Yeah, and he just says, "Is that guy worth it?" Just pop, pop.
Yeah. He's like, "What about him? Is he worth it?" And just like kills the guy. It's like, I love Frank.
Yeah, just further cements that John Bernthal is the best Punisher.
Absolutely, and it's not even a close debate. He is the absolute best. My favorite scene of this entire episode was when he listens to the police scanner and he hears that they're at the warehouse they're at. And he's like, "All right, time to go to work." And just walks in and everyone's like, "It's Frank. Oh, it's the Punisher." And like he gets a pistol to the back of his head and I'm thinking, they don't get a drop on him this easy. No. Turns around, breaks this guy's arm. He kills at least 12 of these cops.
Yeah, 12 at least before they take him down.
And they had to work to get him down.
Yeah, they had a lot of work to get him down.
Because like they're all like trying to take him alive, and he's like, "Well, I'm glad you have that rule." Like the whole time too, when they were not interrogating him, but having him tied to the chair, I was hoping he's gonna give him like some kind of iteration of the speech he gives in the comic books about how they don't need to look up to him and how like. I guess he sort of did, but he didn't.
Well, I know the speech you're talking about, because you've told me about it a million times, but I don't see why he'd waste his time on these guys.
That's why I wasn't too mad about it, because those guys are more like vigilantes than...
Yeah. They're like a legal vigilante task force. Well,
right.
That's exactly what they are.
That's exactly
what they are. They're a vigilante task force.
It was a lot bloodier than what I thought. When he killed the commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
That's a signature Kingpin move. Just smashing the head.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't expect it to be as bloody as it was.
Yeah, he just ripped his jaw off and the top of his skull.
Oh, my gosh, dude. It like squashed him. Like, this was a banger episode. If they could have concluded it. Honestly, when he walked into the Josies right there at the end, I thought he was going to walk in and see all the Defenders. Is there any part of you that thought that? Like,
I kind of knew it was just going to be the people that BB had been showing on her little news reports.
Right.
And then I thought maybe Hector's niece was going to be there as White Tiger.
Right.
But I didn't really expect any of the Defenders.
I half expected to see, like, Luke Cage.
Because the other... Luke Cage was a possibility, but the other two, nobody really liked them.
Right.
The guy who played Danny Rand, he's basically begging to come back right now as Iron Fist. He said in an interview, he said, "I would love to come back as Iron Fist, but a lot of people who watch the show just don't want me back." And I'm just sitting here like, give me a fucking chance.
Right. I thought he was a great Iron Fist. Now, I've only seen bits and pieces of his Iron Fist. I've seen the whole thing.
I liked his show. Honestly, my least favorite show from the Netflix series was Jessica Jones.
Same. I wasn't a big fan of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
But I have expected to see like Luke Cage or something. What do you think about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, I did not think they was going to hold Frank very long.
No. Like, this is going to... I think this will lead directly into the special presentation.
Probably.
Because the post-credit scene is the Punisher grabbing this guy's arm. Like, it's like, it's an honor to meet you. Shakes his hand. I knew what he was going to do.
Yeah, everybody knew.
Because he didn't just break his hand. He broke his hand, pulled his arm in, broke his arm. Like, and you were sure the cage unlocking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we knew you can't keep the Punisher. Like, he's getting out one way or another.
Yeah, he already knew that the cops was fanboys of him.
Yeah. So, like, he was going to exploit that. I'm so happy we got so much John Bernthal in this. So, I have expected Foggy to show up. I think Vanessa faked Foggy's death.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Karen was in on it.
Maybe. Because whenever Matt is dancing with her in the previous episode, he says, you ordered the hit on Foggy. And she very calmly is like, you don't understand. So I feel like there's more to that story.
Yeah.
Because she just calmly says, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's hiding somewhere. Or they made him think he's dead, but they have him held captive.
Maybe Vanessa is trying to work to take down Fisk, too.
Maybe. Maybe she's trying to work to take over his empire. I don't know.
Which I think he would just give it to her.
He really would. Just ask him nicely.
Yeah.
I
want your empire and I want you to stay out of it.
Okay. I love this episode. The only problem I got with this is the ending. Didn't wrap it up enough, and did get me hyped for season 2. Everyone is saying the same thing online.
Where's Spider-Man?
Where's Spider-Man?
Where's Spider-Man?
I'll tell you where Spider-Man is. He's held up in Sony's legal issues where he is. They legally can't use him.
Yeah. See, the cages at the end. Yeah, he was down the hall in Sony's cages.
Yeah. Sony already has him in one of them cages.
Yeah.
You can't see him until you pay enough money.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid. But
that's why they can't use Kingpin in any of the movies. He's a Spider-Man villain, and they can only have TV rights.
Yep. I don't understand. They're sitting on a gold mine if they just use Spider-Man, and the ratings for that show be through the roof if Spider-Man showed up.
Yeah. I don't see why Sony, like, if they don't want to give him over, why don't they just like maybe help produce and they can use Spider-Man?
Yeah. I don't understand why they don't just sell the rights. I mean, I get that it's Spider-Man. Everyone loves Spider-Man. But they could ask for stupid money and Marvel will pay it. Like, they could be like, $10 billion. And they'd be like, we write you a check. Hold on, let me talk to the mouse. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's Spider-Man. Name your price, we'll buy him. You know what I mean? Like, but great finale.
Yeah.
Got to see Punisher in full Punisher fury. We got to see Daredevil in his suit for the majority of the movie. Majority of the show. You got to see Daredevil in his suit, which is great. But okay, so for next week, we're going to obviously be reviewing our shows. Daredevil won't be on it next week, sadly. We're also going to be going to the theaters and watching Sinners, the Michael B. Jordan movie.
Yeah, okay.
Really hyped for this movie. It's got through the roof ratings, so awesome. Which movie are you giving me?
The Illusionist.
The Illusionist. Can't wait to watch that. For you, I'm going to give you Ford versus Ferrari.
Okay.
I love that movie, and I feel like we need to talk about it.
All right, so are you just on a Christian Bale kick?
Yeah, after watching him in Prestige, it made me think about how good of a performance he put on in Ford versus Ferrari.
All right.
That's it for this episode. Like, subscribe. See you next week.
See you next week.
Later.